Hi, and welcome to the Rags to Riches show with myself, Terry Blackburn. Now, today's guest is a guy called Liam Ryan. He's a property investor and developer from Essex. You might be able to tell from his accent. He's done in the region of £28 million worth of property deals in his career so far, raised around £9 million worth of JV funding. He has multiple businesses, multiple revenue streams, and he's a Guinness World Record holder. So welcome to the show, Liam Ryan.
Great. Yeah, lovely. Thanks for having me, Terry. Very much looking forward to this and connecting with your audience and helping people start, scale and grow their property businesses.
Yes, love it. Love it. Thanks, Liam. I appreciate you coming on today, mate. I appreciate your time. So what we'd like to do, Liam, is just talk about your career so far, broken down into 3 parts, and we'll hopefully inspire people. People will learn something from the episode and enjoy what your sort of story and what you're going to go through. So the 3 main parts is the start, just how you got into property, a little bit of your background. The middle part is the exciting part. Obviously, £28 million worth of deals is decent, obviously. So talk a little bit about that. Any key highlights, any lessons, any key learning points from that would be great. And then just the current part, which is what your intention's on right now, what you're looking to do going forward and in the future. So, could you start off by telling us a little bit about the start, how you got into property, Liam? That'd be great.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've always been involved in sales and marketing, and in my early 20s, I had my own business. I had a lead generation company overseas, and I started it with a handful of guys, and then before I knew it, it was 50 guys, 60 guys, and then it was 170, and it was a really good cash flow business, And I said, you know what? I'm going to invest that money into property. And I started to buy property overseas, predominantly in Spain, because that's where I spent a lot of my time. And I built this large property portfolio. And unfortunately, after 2008, when the market crashed and then I wanted to sell that portfolio, I actually lost over 2 million euros first time in property. It was very painful, many years of blood, sweat and tears. And I figured it out, Terry. It wasn't that the game of property was wrong. It's just that the player wasn't playing it right. And in that process, I pretty much made every single mistake in the book, all the stuff I now wouldn't do. I bought off-plan, new builds, glossy brochures, overseas, developments that went bankrupt. I bought from really hot, gorgeous, sexy estate agents on the Costa del Sol, and I got suckered into it. So, if there's anyone tuning into this and your first time round wasn't the best, then there's always a way out. And when I then moved back to the UK in 2012, I got into a new business, into renewable energy, and met now my business partner, Jay Munoz. He was a chartered civil engineer, great with the numbers, project manager, worked with Alan Sugar as a top project manager for Skanska and ISG, worked on some of the biggest builds in London. And I made a decision that I was going to get back into property. And that was really in 2015 when I started my property journey again.
Properly. And just before we jump ahead, how did you lose £2 million? Was that £2 million worth of equity or of your cash, or what was that? You don't have to go into too much detail, obviously, but what?
Yeah. Well, when I was in my early 20s and mid 20s, I didn't really understand anything about leverage or bank finance, and I was earning a lot of money, and I just went and bought everything for cash. So all my deposits were cash, all the properties were for cash. A lot of the stuff I bought was off plan, below market value, these new developments, get in now, you're going to make a fortune. And so that stung me, because a lot of this stuff wasn't even built or developed, and developers went bankrupt. So a lot of my initial deposits were wiped out. And then some of the properties that I did buy for cash, they were in the wrong areas. The market crashed in 2008. What was once a nice little holiday destination on this urbanization just went downhill. No one wanted to rent it. The values were really low. So it was a accumulation, a few different things that contributed to that £2 million loss.
Ouch. Baby, thanks for sharing it. And the key point on that is, a lot of people who are very successful have had some form of adversity or another at some point in the career, and it's something to be ashamed of, and it probably made you the person you are now. I mean, would you agree with that? Did that make you stronger and more resilient?
Oh, 100%, because I was really successful in my day business. I had a lot of people working for me, and I did figure it out. It was like, how ignorant was I to honestly think that I could build a multi-million-pound property portfolio, reading a few books, watching a couple of YouTube videos, and homes under the hammer. And I was just gung-ho, I was just gung-ho on this stuff, not really thinking about it. I just thought, hey, property's safe as houses. And the reality is, Terry, I had no mentorship, no training. I wasn't in a network of good people. I was just believing what the estate agents were telling me. I didn't know the area very well. I didn't do research, due diligence, supply, demand, you name it. I did nothing. I was just earning a ton of money, and I thought I'd be absolutely fine. So through that process, I learned to slow the hell down, do more due diligence, don't buy overseas. All the stuff I did wrong, I learned not to do. And, it's got me to where I am today. So no real moaning from me. It was a big pill to swallow at the time, but you just got to pick yourself up as an entrepreneur, investor, business owner, and say, hey, I'm just going to learn from my mistakes and try something new.
I think that's you have some really good points there. And the main one that jumped out for me is slowing down, because I'm sure you do as well. I speak to a lot of people, and they're so keen to get into property, they'll overlook red flags because they're so keen to buy, and they're focusing on how many properties they can buy or whatever they're focusing on, and they're getting distracted from all these red flags because they're so keen. And a little bit of naivety as well, isn't it? When I had that when I first started, and you're so keen to get on with it and buy, you overlook these things. I think slowing down is a really good point, for sure, mate. So thanks for sharing. So it didn't go off. It didn't sort of go to plan, should we say, at the start. What happened next, and how was that then spiraled into £28 million worth of property deals?
Yeah, great. Well, I moved back to the UK, set up a renewable energy business. The government changed the goalpost on that in 2015, and I decided to run that business down. But as I was running that business down, the phone rang in the office, and it was a guy called Jay Munoz, and he was looking to have solar panels installed. And at that time, I'd become a salesman for my own company, just trying to get, some sales in. And I actually went on that lead, went and met Jay, gave him a quote, bought solar panels, and then we just started connecting. And he said he was a chartered civil engineer. He had cut his 6-figure-a-year salary working in London to do this full time. I could see that Jay was spinning all the plates. He still had very much an employee mentality, not a sort of entrepreneurship mentality. So he was doing everything, working even more hours than when he had a job. And really, fast forward, we decided to become business partners, because I could see, Terry, that we had different skill sets. And we said, right, what have we got to do? And Jay said, look, we should go and seek out some advanced training, some great mentors, invest in our education. And that's exactly what we did. And that was in July, August, September 15. By the September, I got my first property over the line again, a high cash flowing property. By December 2015, I remember sitting down with Holly, my partner, and my 3 kids on Christmas Day with a big smile on my face. It was like, well, I'm back in action. And really fast forward to the end of that first year, I'd done 11 high cash flowing properties, a land development deal where I built 7 flats and 2 houses. I was able to do that using none of my own money, other people's money. So I understood how to raise money and do, say, no money down deals. All deals need money, but none of my own money. And then we just decided to get involved with multiple streams of income, find good deals, but split what we were doing in the company. So Jay's very much the numbers guy. He looks at finding the deals, dealing with the builders, the deal analysis, all of that stuff I really do not enjoy. And then what I do, Terry, is I focus on the vision, the marketing, sales, raising money, building the team. And it works really, really well. So, you know, a good lesson to anyone is that you don't have to be all things, all people in property. You can really play on your strengths and outsource your weaknesses.
Again, that's some great advice there. What advice would you give to people? Again, I'm sure you probably know people like this. Certainly, the networking that I do, everyone's very keen to do a JV, and you know, you literally meet someone for a couple of minutes and like, I've got this deal, do you want a JV? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, just slow down a bit. But you're saying your partnership goes really well. What advice would you give for people looking to JV with others and have business partners? Because I exited one of my businesses 4 or 5 years ago because it wasn't working. I've got a couple of business partners in other businesses, but majority of it is just me. But so what would you say to people who are doing JVs and have business partners? How do you make that work? What advice?
That's a great question. I've also had some bad business partners in the past that I've had to leave. Sometimes it's almost like dating. You have a bad date, but you don't stop dating, right? And not everyone's bad. And obviously you want to limit those bad experiences. So here are some of the things you can do. Really make sure that your values and your vision are aligned. And then also spend time with that person, not just once or twice, but actually a decent amount of time, because you can have a dinner with someone and get on really well, but then when you spend a couple of days with them, they freaking annoy the hell out of you. So go and do, and that's what me and Jay did as business partners. We actually went and spent time together. Our families met, we hung out. We didn't take too long, but it wasn't made in a couple of days. So really hang out with the business partner, and also make sure that the roles and responsibilities are outlined from the very start, what you expect. That's really important. And honesty and communication. I just said to Jay, I'm never going to let you down. If you annoy me, I'm going to tell you. I'm always going to try and be the best business partner, and he does the same. And we just made a commitment and promise, no matter what would happen, we wouldn't screw each other over. And if at any given time we believed there was any major issues, then we would end the relationship. But what you need is your shareholder agreement in place. You know, what happens if there is a disagreement? And there's occasions, you know, Jay will throw his toys out the pram. I'll throw my dummy out my mouth. You know, and that happens.
It happens, yeah, definitely.
It does happen sometimes, but if you come from love. Now, when it comes to, say, JV partners or private funders, I typically raise money on loan notes. And, you know, a lot of my investors, they just want the money and they don't get too involved. But some of them, they do want to spend time with you and hang out and be involved in the project. Again, very similar there, Terry. It's just, you know, like back in the day when I started this, I'll be honest, it was like if anyone was willing to give me money, I would have took it because I was desperate again. It was like I just wanted to do this, but that's not a good thing, right? Now I only work with private funders where I feel there's a true connection. They're doing it for the right reason, and I like them and they like me.
Yeah, I think again that's another really good point. In a lot of newbies, you put the money on a pedestal. And if you can see, you see in the red flags, but you just overlook them because you're so keen to do it, right? You know, oh, he's got 100 grand. Wow, 100 grand. That's what people think, right? Then I was guilty of that as well at the start. Like a lot of it, I haven't raised that much money. A lot of it's been my own, but like still at the start, the first take in your first one, you think, what, they're going to lend us that much money? Doesn't matter who they are, what they're like, and how annoying they're going to be, and how much they're going to get. I mean, you know, yeah, I think that's a really good point. Values, I think was your first point, is a massive one. And I think that relates to every part of your life. Values in your partner, as in your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, like that's a massive thing as well, right? Values, if they're not aligned, it's only a matter of time before there's an argument. It's only a matter of time before something kicks off. And in business, that's the last thing that you want, right? So, great advice. And made some notes. That's spot on, Liam. Thank you. So again, so tell us about some of the deals then you and your business partner have done. What's that look like at the moment? Any key ones that jump out?
Yeah, you know what? I like to build a diverse property portfolio over a period of time. There is no get rich quick. It's get rich slow. And really the magic to wealth is consistent compounding, consistent investing over a long period of time. Allow compounding to kick in. So yeah, I wanted to build initially the nice high cash flowing type properties at the start, HMOs, serviced accommodation, but I very quickly moved more into developments. Now I'm not a builder or a contractor or an architect. I don't have to be any of those things to be a developer. You need a good team, great business partner. You need a good team around you. The last person you'd ever want on site managing any type of build is me. The bloody thing would collapse. But I played to my strengths. So for me, I really love doing developments. And just to share a couple of sort of juicy developments that we've been able to do using other people's money, a really nice commercial conversion in Colchester. We teamed up with another developer. They had the deal and lost their money, and we had a deal and lost the deal, but had the money. So we decided to team up and collaborate. And that was taking an office into 16 one-bedroom flats. And that was a great deal, use joint venture funding. We sold those flats. 15 of them were sold before the building completed. One, once it was completed, the smallest one. And now we've got, 16 families or couples or individuals that have bought those flats that are now creating their own memories for their own future. And then, you get to walk away with a big lump of profit. We've also got, Terry, my biggest deal to date is happening right now, and that's in Maidenhead. And it's a bit of everything. We got a 6,000 square foot commercial unit on the high street, which is the biggest commercial unit in that area. And we've got a 10-year lease with Superdrug. If you'd said to me 6 years ago, I'd have Superdrug as my tenant, I would have said, well, maybe you've been smoking some wacky backy, but that's never going to happen to me.
Yeah. And
then we're doing, we're taking the existing commercial premises upstairs and converting them into flats, and then it's a new build out the back. That's 26 units with a gross development value of around about 9 million GDV. Yeah, so we're expecting some big profits. So there's some nice juicy stuff going on, but I also like the bread and butter stuff as well. I still like to bang out a few single lets every year, because let's say, for example, to anyone listening here, let's just say worst case, you can add 2 single lets to your portfolio every year. Fast forward 20 years, you've got 40 properties there that you can then pass down to your children, your loved ones, or whoever you want to build a legacy for.
Yeah, man, I love that. And diversifying, I think, is the intelligent thing to do, right? Not putting all the eggs in one basket, because if the market does have a crash, that I can't see it for a couple of years, but if it does, development could take a hit if you're heavily into a project. But spreading the risk by single lets, I think, is spot on. Was there anything else that sort of attracted you to development? Is it mainly the big lumps of capital that sort of appealed to you more than the steady income, or was it just the complexity? But what was it about development that was attracted to you?
It's the big lumps of cash.
It's
the big lumps of cash, really.
Yeah.
Because if I'm honest, I'm not actually that involved in any of the process. Of course, I'll come in and make major decisions, but it's not like I'm on the site or actually building the thing. But where I come involved and enjoy is raising the money, going down, shooting the videos, creating educational content to help other people, sitting in on the progress meetings. And also what really appealed to me with the bigger stuff is that you're really building something where you're building a legacy and something that will make that town or that area a better place.
Mm.
And you're providing affordable homes to people that need it. So you're also creating a win for other people to go in and live happily by renting or buying and creating their own memories. And that makes me feel good. And every time I drive past one of my developments, I'm like, man, we built that and that feels good. And that's going to be there for hundreds of years.
Yeah. And if you can make some cash, like you rightly say, you know, it's a win-win for everybody, right?
Yeah.
If you can win, your family can win because who you're going to pass it to, and then other families can win by buying it or renting it. Then
I think not to beat around the bush, obviously top of the list there for development is the big lumps of cash.
Yeah. Let's be honest, if there was no money in property, not everyone would be shouting about property, would they? You know, you wouldn't do it if it wasn't much money in it, man. I think that's like a taboo subject in this country, isn't it? Like a lot of people don't want to talk about money, and they say that I'm not money driven and all this. Well, you know, if you boil it down, a lot of it is down to money. So I appreciate the honesty. Okay, cool. So you've mentioned there's something that you're currently doing. Obviously, you're doing this big development with the Superdrug as the tenant in the flats above. What else are you up to at the moment? What's sort of going on right now, and what are you looking at going forward?
Yeah, great. Well, over the last 5-6 years, we've also moved into training and education, which is really the side of the business that I head up. And we are now one of the UK's leading property business and wealth training companies. So we currently have 7 different training verticals that we offer. Anything from different property strategies to investing in stocks and shares, to public speaking, sales, and business and social media and marketing. So we have 7. So we're really just trying to continue to grow the training side of the company. We want to do a couple more developments this year, some new build developments, probably sub 10 houses, just try and get in and out as quick as we possibly can. I like the big deals, but they take 2, 3, maybe if not longer, right? So some of the smaller developments work nicely. Continue to raise money. I'm growing my podcast. I create loads of content. Make sure I'm there for my amazing wife and my kids, have nice balance, which can be very hard for us entrepreneurs because I am obsessed with what I do and it doesn't really feel like I'm ever working. But it's to be of service to the people that need us the most and to continue to enjoy life and help other people create financial freedom through property business and wealth training and investing.
Love that. I love that. And again, just picking up on a couple of things that you've said. The family life, you know, I've got 3 kids as well. I think you say you got 3.
I got 4 now.
But 4, I've got one of the way as well, actually. So you got catching you.
I got 4.
So you got 4, fair play. So as I know how you feel there, and you know, a lot of people will use having a busy family life as an excuse not to do business, an excuse why they can't buy as many property or they can't run big businesses. But it can be done all at the same time. You're clearly doing it. I'm doing it, and there's plenty of other people that do it. I just think there's a lot of people who have this viewpoint of, you know, you can't do it all, can you? You know, you can't have a happy family life and go to the gym. I just seen you. Liam stood up before. He's absolutely stacked. I've seen him before. So, you know, you can keep fit. You can have a family life. You can be a good dad. And you can have multiple businesses and property because you're doing it. I'm doing it. And there's many other people that do it as well. So I think it's a good point that you said that there. Just a couple of specific questions that came up when you were talking there. You say your role in your sort of partnership, a lot of it is raising the money. Any advice that you could give to others? It's probably the most common question I get asked anyway, is around how do I raise money? How does that work? Where do you find these people? What advice would you give on? You're smiling because I'm sure you get it as well. What would you say on that?
It's a really good point, and you know, people believe that they need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of their own money to do property, And hey, if you've got money, that's great. But if you haven't, then an option you have is to use other people's money. And I'll be honest, there's no little secret black book. There's no little secret hiding places where they all hang out. They are literally in your phone book. They are friends, family members, business associates, work colleagues. You can find money online. You can go to networking events. And I found money before on holiday. I've spoken to someone on a train and they became one of my private funders. If I fly business class somewhere, I speak to other people in business class. Everywhere I go, and I even did this on my wedding day because there were some people there I hadn't seen in a while. So of course I'm going to be trying to generate those leads. But look, here's the thing. Money's everywhere. There's not a shortage of money. The question is, have you got the balls to go and start telling people who you are and what you do? And it's what I call get yourself into a pitching situation. The more people you tell what you do and the great service you offer, the more leads you generate, the more coffees you have, the more Zooms you have, the more times you stand up at a networking event and get in front of people, the more money you'll raise. And it's a process. You know, don't just meet someone for a coffee and they give you £500,000. Hey, that may happen, but yet you have to spend time. So my advice is put yourself out there more. Obviously, be clear on what your unique selling point is and practice role playing how to articulate your pitch. Be clear on what's good about you, what's not good about you, the service you offer, how you structure the deal. How do you do all that? Well, the best thing to do is just go and get some training, go and hang out with someone that's done it, you know, pay them some money to mentor you, to fast track you. Then just put yourself out there and get in front of people. And if you can make something work, great. If not, then you might have had a nice hot chocolate and a bloody cookie.
Yeah, man. I think coming, I'm a sales background and I know you are too. When you're speaking there, you can tell that you've been in sales for a lot. Because I just think with sales, you get a tough skin, don't you? Because sales can be so brutal about you ask for the order, whatever product you're selling, whatever you're selling, whatever service you're selling, whatever you're obviously doing, you just get this tough skin, don't you? So I don't find asking for money or having chats with people, it doesn't phase us at all. You definitely come across the same way because you come from that sales background. I personally think having a sales background is for business, it's one of the best upbringings you can have, right? Being heavily involved in sales, obviously you were very successful abroad, this lead gen, you know, selling whatever you were selling then. Would you agree that that's put you or made you the man that you are today and the business person that you are today, the sales sort of background?
Yeah, I'm so pleased that you think the same as me, Terry. You know, one of my teachers at school, an English teacher, when I was in year 11, I remember saying, whatever you do in life, don't become a salesperson. Salespeople are bad. You get good salesmen, bad salesmen. You get good doctors, bad doctors. You know, there's good and bad in every industry.
I think that comes from the car. Nothing against car salesmen, double glazing. You know, they have this sort of bad sort of view, don't they? That everyone just a bad image. The pinstripe suits, coffee breath. They're just slimy. They have that sort of image, don't they? Unfortunately.
Yeah. And you know, you do get bad salesmen out there, but I've been selling stuff pretty much since I was in the playground, selling sweets, and used to go in with a bag with jeans and perfumes. I soon became the kid that can get you anything you wanted. I did knock on doors for Zenith Windows at the age of 15 for 3 years. Man, having doors slammed in your face every day certainly enabled me to embrace rejection, but also taught me how to read people and how to build desire in literally just a few seconds. And I would recommend to anybody that one of, if not the number one skill to master in order to become successful and wealthy, is sales and negotiating. And if you've got a great product, a great service, a great idea, and what you're selling is going to enhance someone's life, then you should shout about that a lot. And you should never be afraid to ever get in front of anyone and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why I believe you should buy my stuff.
Love that. I could not agree more. We see, I've just done a sales meeting this morning. We talked about this, being able to deal with rejection. You know, every no you get, you're one step closer to the yes. And if you don't ask, the answer is definitely no, right? Like you rightly said there at the start of that, these angels could be sitting in your phone, could be your best mate's parents, but you know, it could be your parents, it could be, money is everywhere, as you rightly said. But if you don't ask, we say, you might not heard this, but in the Northeast, we say shy Ben's getting out. You'll probably think I'm speaking a different language there, but that just means shy kids don't get anything, because if you don't ask, you don't get it. And it's the same with this. As long as you're credible and you know what you're doing to a degree, and you ask for the order, you might just get the order.
100%.
Love that. Love that. I could talk about sales all day, to be fair.
Me too, mate. Me too.
Cool. No, it's been a really good episode. I think you come across as very genuine. So I like that, mate. And thank you for sharing your story. The show's called The Rags to Riches. So, but you can be rich in many different ways. You can be rich in monetary terms, in assets, in time, in loads of different ways. But what does being rich mean to you? What does that phrase mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Rich to me is having control and freedom of your life, to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, to be of service and to have a positive impact on the world, and to be in a position where you never have to worry about money.
Yeah, man. And anyone says that they don't want that, I think is lying, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest about the fact. Yeah, these people say money doesn't make you happy. Yeah, well, you're definitely happier with money.
There's only so many trees you can hug or stars you can look at. And that's all nice, don't get me wrong. But, you know, you want a 5-star holiday to Dubai, or put your kids in private school, or just be able to sleep at night. You need money. And one way to do that is via property, investing, compounding, all of the stuff that we've been talking about. And it's available to anyone that wants to get off their backside and make it happen.
Yeah, man. Love that. Liam, thank you so much. It's been a great episode. If anyone wants to reach out to you, if anyone wants to find you, follow you on Instagram, wherever, what's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, great. Thanks for that, Terry. So they can find me on Instagram, Liam J. Ryan Wealth. You can also put in Liam Ryan on Facebook, and you can also go to YouTube, Assets for Life, and come to my YouTube channel.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Liam. I appreciate your time, and have a good rest of your day.
Lovely. Pleasure. Thanks, Terry.
Thanks a lot. Bye, mate.